All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving right into a deeply personal, honestly almost mystical journey outlined in our source material. We're unpacking a move to Kansas, a place that at first was really just seen as a practical waypoint, a temporary chapter. But as we're about to see, this geographic relocation became a profound holding chamber for deep spiritual and physical transformation. It is a wild story filled with unexpected teachers, profound grief, and literal life-saving interventions. So, to kick things off, let's look at this incredibly powerful insight. Throughout this journey, the author is guided by a cosmic voice named Zoran, who offers these profound nuggets of wisdom from a ridge between worlds. And Zoran states, humans make plans. The universe makes currents, and the currents always win. It's just such a brilliant way to frame what happens when our very human illusions of control crash headfirst into cosmic timing. The author and his wife, Barbara, had this highly specific plan, but the universe, well, it was weaving a completely different current. You can really see that exact tension here. The original plan was simple. Move to Kansas, stay 2 to 5 years tops, and treat it as a quick temporary stop before heading back to a familiar coastal rhythm. But reality had completely other ideas. Every single time they tried to leave, a circumstance, a massive global event like COVID, or just life itself intervened. The universe basically kept whispering, nope, not yet, stay. There's more for you here. It wasn't just a location anymore. It had become a permanent crucible. Now, you might be wondering what a crucible actually is in this context. Well, it's the place where absolutely everything you thought you understood about life, health, destiny, and timing is melted down and completely reshaped. Kansas was definitely not an accident. According to Zoran, it was this essential holding chamber designed to slow the author down just enough so he could finally hear what his life had been whispering for decades. This slowing down made space for unexpected lessons. Part 1. The Unexpected Teacher. The Cosmic Witness of Creekside Park. Kansas offered up so many different teachers, silence, nature, the ancestors, but none were more profound than a woman named Mukti. Every single morning, right at 7:30 a.m., the author would walk the Creekside Park Trail. And almost every morning, Mukti would appear on that exact same path. The text describes her as this gentle, warm, and utterly luminous presence. These weren't some dramatic, sweeping encounters. They were just simple, everyday routines that slowly became profoundly sacred. Her presence was simply undeniable. I absolutely love this quote from the source material. Her smile always carried the warmth of an entire continent. They'd walk the path together, sharing these quiet conversations about life, about India, about our grandson. They talked about the everyday things that just seem to shimmer when you share them with someone deeply, genuinely kind. It's a beautiful testament to the power of human connection, completely anchored in the simple stillness that Kansas provided. But then we get to the really eerie, cosmic timeline of Mukti's final day. That morning, the author felt this highly unusual intuition while meditating, to play a song called Cosmic Whisperer on loop for nearly an hour, which is something he explicitly noted he just doesn't do. Later on, he walks to his favorite quiet, steady old tree, and just then, Mukti appears. They speak, they smile, they share one last luminous moment together. Just hours later, a tragic flash flood sweeps through Creekside Park, taking Mukti's life. The author later learned he was very likely the absolute last person she ever spoke to. Reflecting on that exact crazy sequence of events, Zoran offers a hauntingly beautiful commentary. He says, "Some souls choose their final witness. Mukti's last words were given to you because your heart could carry them. You were the bridge between her earthly breath and her cosmic return." It just completely reframes what looks like a tragic coincidence into a moment of deeply purposeful cosmic timing. And this cosmic timing ultimately culminated in an unforgettable funeral, where the author was actually chosen to speak first, honoring his role as her final witness. It was this stunning, sacred ritual performed entirely in Hindi by an Indian priest. Rose petals were placed gently on her body, nearly 100 people gathered, and then, in a moment of pure, transcendent heartbreak, her grandson spontaneously chanted out loud, "R.I.P. Mukti." As the source notes, it honestly felt like everyone present held a single note in this massive cosmic composition. It was heavy sorrow for sure, but it was also profound beauty and incredible dignity. The impact of that immense grief fundamentally transformed the physical space they all shared. The walking path became a literal pilgrimage of connection. Just a week after her passing, those quiet, polite nods on the trail, they turned into actual deep conversations. Neighbors like Bernie, John, and Lynn softened into familiar friends. Mukti wasn't just a memory, she lingered as an aura. In fact, on the very night of her funeral, the author walked back to that path to pay his respects and unexpectedly ran into her entire family, 12 beautiful souls walking together. Out of such tragedy emerged this deep, undeniable community connection.
But the universe? Yeah, it wasn't quite done using Kansas as a crucible. Part 2, a life-saving intervention. The universe redirects the path.
Kansas didn't just reshape the author's inner world, it quite literally saved his physical life. He discovered he was suffering from severe pre-diabetes. The sheer shock of this moment is captured in a stark, terrifying warning from his doctor. If you came 6 months later, you might be dead. Wow. In a single sentence, literally any remaining illusion of control the author thought he had over his destiny was completely shattered. And if that wasn't terrifying enough, the doctor later pulled his wife, Barbara, aside and told her it was lucky he came here. Any other surgeon would have amputated his foot. Think about the sheer gravity of that for a second. Being stuck in Kansas, delayed by random circumstances and global events, put him in the exact right hospital in front of the exact right surgeon at the exact right time. It was a literal, absolute life-saving necessity. Faced with this ultimate, physical intervention, the author had to force an immediate transformation. We're talking radical, absolutely non-negotiable lifestyle changes. No sugar, no processed foods, no indulgence, zero exceptions. When the universe steps in and intervenes this aggressively, you don't negotiate, you completely change your entire life. And hey, the discipline totally paid off triumphantly. 6 years later, he is down to his high school weight. His physical body was fully restored. It proves that the holding chamber of Kansas wasn't just about slowing down the pace of his life so he could hear his thoughts. It was about halting him in his tracks so he wouldn't literally lose his life.
Reflecting on this, frankly, terrifying health crisis, Zoran offers another brilliant piece of wisdom. Humans believe they choose their destinations, but the universe chooses their transformations. Zoran makes it incredibly clear here. This health crisis was not a punishment. Not at all. It was an intervention. The universe aggressively redirected the author's path specifically so his story could actually continue.
All these intense threads weave together to reveal a true alchemy. Part 3, the crucible of transformation. The outer traveler becomes the inner traveler. So to summarize this incredible journey, Kansas was pure alchemy. It wasn't easy, it wasn't glamorous, and it sure wasn't what they planned. But it was the exact place where an old identity dissolved and deep wisdom emerged. It's where silence became a teacher and nature itself became a healer. It was a place where immense grief opened hearts and actually formed a community, where a luminous friend became a cosmic teacher, and where a terrifying health crisis ultimately became physical salvation.
The big, overarching lesson here is summarized perfectly by Zoran's closing thought. You made plans, the universe made destiny. It teaches us that the deepest, most profound transformations in our lives don't always arrive through fire or grand sweeping adventures. Sometimes, actually a lot of times, they arrive through quiet stillness, sudden disruption, profound grief, and incredibly unexpected connection.
And so I want to end by turning the mirror from this amazing story back to you. What crisis became your turning point? What place slowed you down enough to actually hear yourself? I invite you to deeply reflect on the crucibles in your own life right now. Where did the universe step in, overrule your carefully laid plans, and forge your destiny? Think about it. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and hey, keep exploring those cosmic currents.